New York is the place to be for bagels, and everyone has their favorite spot. I'm Henry Rosoff, and I love bagels. And now I'm trying every bagel I can get my hands on, one schmear at a time, and seeing how they stack up. Join me on my quest for New York's best bagel. Welcome into the Pix11 Streaming Center. I am Henry Rosoff in my constant quest for New York's best bagel. And, by the way, we've got these handy-dandy best bagel coffee mugs. Nothing like some coffee to go with your bagel. Again, if you want to recommend a bagel, per usual, bestbagel at pix11.com, bestbagel at pix11.com. We're getting to the bagels faster. That's my promise to those of you at home. And today we are going to review Atlantic Bagels over in Brooklyn Heights, just on the southern end of Brooklyn Heights on the north side of Atlantic. Let's get the bagel bag out and pull it into the bagel cam, and we're going to unbag this. And I also want to tell you about something I found when I got to this location that a friend of mine actually recommended checking out that was really, really interesting. But let's take a look at the bagels, and we'll talk about that. We'll go over the rules as we get along. Oh, here's the plain. You know what? I'm immediately noticing and really liking. I know I normally show you the everything first, but you can see a sign of a really nice cook. You get some of those I get boil marks, but it's just a little bit of sort of crispiness. That's what I'm looking for in a cook, a distinct bottom cook. Little bit of crispy crunch. And let's open the everything now and get this bag out of here. Let's get a napkin right there, bag gone. You know how we do it. Unwrap the everything. We'll take a look at the everything together. A really nice sized bagel. Really fresh scallion ingredients per usual that we like to see. Getting that nice fresh smell here too. The coating, I don't know. I would say probably could be coated a little bit stronger, but it's not like there's no seeds on it. I probably would have just liked to see a little bit more. Again, a nice cook. I'm gonna try to get as close as I can to show you sort of that's to me is a sign of a good cook. You get these little sort of air pocket boil marks. Anyway, I told you I'd tell you about this place before we took a bite, and here's why. I went there. A friend of mine, Rachel, recommended checking this place out. She lives not far from there, and this is why. If you take a look on the one side of the screen, you'll notice they have free jackets up for grabs, and they say if anyone's cold or hungry, they won't be turned away. You can go inside if you're in need and get a bagel or a cup of coffee or something. A really nice mission, especially as we get covered in snow right here. So my challenge today, and you see they're over there on 200 Clinton Street in Brooklyn Heights, Brooklyn. My challenge today will be to give them a fair score, considering they're doing this nice work in the community under new ownership, relatively new ownership, reopen this neighborhood gem. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into this first bite. A bit too much. Hold on. Nice flavors. Very fresh scallion cream cheese. That may be, in fairness, due to the storm. A lot of shops were closed. I imagine that a lot of people are making fresh ingredients at the beginning of the week. Bagel has a nice chew to it. A little bit on the fluffier inside. I think I was right on to say maybe more seeds needed. I probably want a little bit more flavor there. Let me get a smaller, more reasonable bite here. Get a better sense of the bagel there. It's really nice. It's really nice. Let's get into the plain a little bit. Again, it cooked really nicely. Looking at the inside, a good balance of some air pockets for fluffiness, but also some density there. I'm going to scoop this out like I normally do. There we go. Give it a taste. Very nicely balanced inside. Really nicely balanced inside. And I want just a nibble on this this outside. I want probably a little more of a crunch on there. Again, the cook looked good. I had a slightly higher expectations, but the bottom, I bet you'll give me more of a bite. You heard it there. That was solid. So I think I'm gonna go One more good bite because I'm torn. I'm torn. I'm not quite sure where to go with this one just yet. Nice scallion ingredients. Good balanced inside. Not as much coverage on the outside with seating as I would like. Not as much of a crunch when I bite in. Yeah, I think I know what I'm doing. Atlantic Bagels. You're a 10 in our hearts for the work you do in the community, but your bagel is an 8 on the scoreboard. An 8 on the scoreboard. So we're gonna give Atlantic Bagels an 8. And again, if you want to recommend a bagel, you can go ahead and recommend it bestbagelpix11.com. That's bestbagel at pix11.com. When we come back, we're going to pay our first visit over to Staten Island. I was over there for a story and reviewed a bagel in the field, so we'll see how that one went. But I hope you'll stick around when we visit Staten Island for our first trip on New York's best bagels. Cheers. And welcome back to New York's Best Bagel. I am Henry Rosoff, and thank you once again for joining me on my quest to find New York's best bagel. Well, Staten Island, we are coming for you. Again, you can recommend a bagel at bestbagel@pix11.com, bestbagel at pix11.com. We are going to review Royal Crown Bakery Café. More of a bakery, but everyone down there when I was visiting Staten Island for a story just about a week or so ago said, hey, you got to go there. You got to get the bagels if they're left, especially the prosciutto bagel, which I didn't unfortunately have the opportunity to try. It seemed like sort of a limited edition first thing in the morning deal that they do there. It's a shop that's been around for a long time. They do a lot of things, but we're going there for our first bagel review. I remembered when I was reviewing Atlantic just a few minutes ago, I didn't show you the rules, so a quick refresher on the rules, and then we'll show you my visit over there in Staten Island. Again, we're scoring on a 1 to 10 bagel system. We get the everything bagel with the scallion cream cheese on it, as you just saw. We get the plain cut in half to rip and tear, and we don't do toasted because we're schlepping bagels across town. Perhaps on Staten Island, since I was eating it effectively on location, maybe I should have tried a toasted one, but we try to keep things fair. And without further ado, my first review on Staten Island, Royal Crown Bakery Café. All right, welcome inside the Pix 11 live truck, one of our vehicles you see rolling around town covering the news. I just went inside and got my bag of bagels from Royal Crown Bakery Café here off Highland Boulevard in the Old Town section of Staten Island. Let's dive in. So here we go. I believe this is going to be our everything bagel. They were actually out of the regular everythings, and we got the whole wheat everything. And what I noticed when I bought it, look at that bagel hole right there. Definitely one of the, almost dropped it, one of the biggest bagels, certainly the biggest bagel holes that we've seen on this show. I'm actually going to retrieve my tin foil from down here because I'm making a mess. Give me a place to set it down. We'll try to do the best we can. We don't have our world famous bagel cam out here in the field, but you see really nice seed covering there. They also don't offer a scallion cream cheese, so that's another little bit of difference here. So we'll see how this rating goes. Let's dive in and take a bite before we get into the plain. Nice flavor, nice texture. A little bit different. I mean, it's a whole wheat bagel, so I'm actually interested in trying the plain, and then we're going to try to blend in, and you'll come up with the best score possible here. I like the seed covering. Not going to lie, I do miss my scallion cream cheese. There's also no real crispy crunch or crackle on it. I was actually really interested and excited. It looks well cooked. It looks nice. Again, a whole wheat, not a regular yeasted flour. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into the plain, because I am actually very curious about the plain bagel here. Again, well, I got a little microphone here, so a little bit of a crackly crunch here. Very much so fluffy inside. So yeah, very much on the fluffy, a lot of big air pockets, not as much density as we normally see. I mean, this is a great spot, I hear, for all sorts of other baked goods, but people were like, you gotta go there and get the bagels, and so that's why I'm here. Yeah, more of a fluff bread side sort of situation here.
Look at the taste. Oh. As I make a mess. I like the outside texture, definitely a little bit better on the plain here. Let's get one more bite of the whole wheat everything. Different. I was most define this bagel as just plain different. I mean, it's the bottom of the plane. It's huge. Sorry, I can't stop doing this silliness here. Very fluffy, sort of thin inside, not a lot of density. I like you can probably hear that. The cook on the outside. Very locally popular. This place started originally in Bensonhurst in 1987 and moved over here to Highland Boulevard, off Highland Boulevard in Staten Island. So, interesting, different bagel. I recognize that I am reviewing a whole wheat everything as opposed to a regular everything. It's a nice bagel. Not going to say it's my favorite, just to be perfectly honest with you. Different. I would say this is going to get a 6.5. It's going to get a 6.5. It's very different. All the pastries inside look very good. It seems like they do a little bit of everything, and everything looks very tasty inside. But as far as the bagels, I don't know, Staten Island. I'd love to hear other recommendations, and perhaps we'll go back and see if they have the regular everything. But that's my take here on Staten Island at Royal Crown. We're going to give it 6.5.
Well, thanks, Henry. We're doing this little anchor reporter thing with myself. So let's make it official in the Pix 11 streaming center. Again, we're going to go ahead and give this a 6.5 for Royal Crown Bakery Cafe, our first Staten Island review. When we go back to Staten Island next time, I promise we will try a more traditional bagel shop. But that one came very highly recommended, and I have to say, you saw in the picture there, all the Italian-style mini pastries, the cannolis, the cookies, all of that stuff. It looked excellent, but this is a bagel show, and Royal Crown Bakery Cafe got a 6.5. Again, as always, if you have a bagel you want to recommend, bestbagel at pix11.com, bestbagel at pix11.com. I'm like overly excited and just want to show you one more time our brand new mugs. I mean, look at that. Coffee and bagels, nothing better. We're not going to do a coffee review show. That's not really New York. Those beans come from other places. But the bagels come from New York, and we will be back again next week with a brand new edition of New York's Best Bagel. But that'll do it for this episode. I'm Henry Rosoff, and thank you again for joining me on my quest to find New York's Best Bagel.